Hello, everybody, and first of all, Happy New Year. And may it be an absolutely blessed one for you. And I know that at this time of year, everyone is asking, well, what is going to happen this year? And we get a bit wrapped up, too much wrapped up in it sometimes. And all I wanted to tell you was a series of pictures that I have one after the other. And they came just, I think it was about the 29th of December. I've been asking the Lord, what are you showing at this time? And I want to share that with you, please, in this video. And I hope it blesses you, because I think that we're in for a year. The word unprecedented keeps getting used and even overused, but truly unprecedented. And I'm calling this video Walking on Water, because that's what it's going to feel like for so many of us. And what really triggered a lot of things for our community was when one of our folk, a lady who I love and respect enormously, wanted to repent. And I thought, what have you done to make you want to repent? And she said, I feel that I need to repent for wanting a more normal life. And I thought, what? And she went on to explain, because she'd had quite a year herself with ups and downs, and we knew it. And she said, I found myself thinking, oh God, can my life be less risky? Can some things be a bit more predictable? Can I have a bit more security so that I don't have to be depending on you from one moment to the next for my life, for my health, for my family and everything? And there was a silence. And then we thought, she's right. And we need really to begin to repent where we've clung onto like the wreckage of what this world has to offer, and wanting things to be apparently safe when they're anything but. But obviously God has the answer. So it ended up with us all repenting. Maybe you need to repent of wanting to live a normal life according to this world, because if you read somebody like Watchman Nee, he talks about the normal Christian life being anything but normal, and that is exactly what God has destined you for. So may you enjoy that risky living. And then I began to pray more into that. And I had a series of pictures. And the first one, I was in a carpenter's workshop, and it looked very, very strange. And there was a guy, a witness, an angel, I don't know, standing, coaching this carpenter, helping him to follow exact instructions to make something that he'd obviously not made before. And I looked, and it looked to me like the skeleton of what was going to be some kind of a boat, and it looked so fragile, but yet the instructions were so exact. And I said, Lord, that is really fragile. And the Lord was saying, yes, my models are going to be fragile to the people who see with the eyes of this world. But then I was reminded straight away about the Titanic, and I thought, well, that seemed to be the most secure ship ever built, and look what happened there. And I know that this year many Titanics, we'll talk about it later, many Titanics will actually end up going down. But the Lord is already preparing new models for us, new models. And it's interesting, because we know when we look at the Bible, don't we? We know that Joseph, who was the earthly father of Jesus, was a carpenter. And we wonder how Jesus was trained. And it came to me as I was watching this guy, that coaching the carpenter. It came to me, Jesus knew all about that. And I don't know whether this is a witness or an angel, but some person, some angelic being who seemed to me to be coaching people who'd never done these kind of things before into God's plans, and putting their faith in the instructions of God rather than what their eyes could see. We all need that, believe me. And the Lord took me to Mark 6 this morning in verse 3, and it's when Jesus begins to preach and talk in the synagogue, and of course it's his home synagogue, and they're all absolutely amazed, and they start to comment, and they say, is this not the carpenter, the son of Mary, and brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon, and are not his sisters here with us? And they were offended. And They knew Jesus only as the carpenter, the son of the carpenter. They didn't know who he truly was. So you can get offended. And I feel the Lord saying we can get offended this year as well, because some new people are going to come on the scene. Of course, they've been there all along, quietly being prepared. But we might think, who on earth do they think they are? But they are going to be the ones who are going to be entrusted with models that haven't been seen in our age before, and they need to. So are we ready to follow the instructions if we receive them, and to receive what we see others building, even though it might not look like anything that church has ever done before? Are we prepared to put up with the fact that it might be fragile? Are we prepared to recognize Jesus in this kind of model? And I want you to go to something else where we know that Peter walks on the water. Yes, and we think we know that story, but where the emphasis came for me this time was somewhere quite different. And I was seeing the storm, and again, I was seeing that boat. And of course, the idea there is that, Peter got out of the boat. But why did he get out of the boat? It was because in the storm, they saw someone coming towards them they didn't recognize. And it's Peter's brilliant idea. The disciples are crying out for fear. Peter, already the leader there, he says, be of good cheer. It is really me. Don't be afraid. And I think some of us are going to have to get out of the boats of what we know, because Jesus is coming towards us in a new way. And why does Peter get out of the boat? He says, Lord, if it's you, you command me to come to you on the water. Where did he get that idea? I think Jesus had already put the idea into his head. And so he says, come. And when Peter had come down and out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. And I know that he sunk, but hey, he walked on the water, and he was the one who had the initiative to cry out on behalf of others. Is it really you, Lord? And with some of the new things the Lord's going to ask us to do, we're going to be crying out, is it really you? And perhaps we will be minded like Peter was to cry out, Lord, if it's really you, command me to walk on the water and I will do it. So I'm really emphasizing that bit this morning. What kind of Jesus are we expecting? And it turned out that the water in the end was more secure than the boat. So there we go. And then the pictures that I had, it began to change again. And the boat shape thing that the size and the shape of it that the Lord was showing me in the first picture, it had become a kind of basket with a hood on it. And again, I was thinking of Moses, and I was thinking of the way his mother, obviously they knew how to make baskets in those days, but they didn't normally put their babies in them on the water. And again, it's about risk, isn't it? That God would put the entire future of Israel and his plan of salvation into a boat on the River Nile filled with crocodiles, and knowing that all was going to be well. And he's got plans far ahead of time for salvation. And do you know that the same word that is used for Moses in the basket, it depends on what your version is, it depends whether you read it alongside Noah, and already though it's the same word that was used for Noah's ark, the ark that is going to be the means of salvation for a righteous remnant. And you talk about risk, you talk about mockery. There really was a boat. The one I saw in the first picture, by the way, was not the model for the ark that Noah was given. But God is going to be risky, and he's going to involve you with his plans. You can be sure that all this time, that person I was seeing standing there, dressed in an ordinary kind of Hessian rough robe and a huge hat to shelter him apparently from the sun, was overseeing the plans. So what can I say to you? Follow the instructions. You will be testing, we'll be seeing new things this year. We say this every year, but this year I think the seriousness of it is going to be more and more and more. And God does want you, if you like, to put things a bit to the test. And when you ask that, he will enable you to walk on the water. And at least thank you, Peter, for trying it in the first place. Most of us would have just stayed with the crying out, wouldn't we? So may your plans be blessed. May you step out of the boat. Will you trust yourself to the models that the Lord is giving this year or not? But be blessed in all of your circumstances, and know that the Lord's plans may seem incredibly fragile and really go against the wisdom of man, but that's what God is going to do all of this year. And we're best, aren't we, with what appears the apparent foolishness of God against all the wisdom of man. So happy new year to you all.